This is $286,000 in replica money or prop money, money that they use in film and TV, music videos, photography. YouTubers use it all the time. Actually, Mr.Beast recently got busted for using prop money, giving it to people, but he had a really good reason. He replaced that with a check because he didn't want people walking outside through a crowd of people with big stacks of cash. Super smart. He was doing it for the right reason, but you internet sleuths caught on to it because he didn't use this prop money. And today we're going to tell you why he should have used this and he would have not got caught, because this prop money is the best prop money that I could find. And we're going to go over a few different things about this prop money today. So when it comes to prop money or replica money, there's lots of different options out there, but they're not all the same. Now, one of the biggest complaints I have when I use prop money to film client work or music videos is that it says for motion picture use only, real big on it. It just doesn't look real. That's why this money from StrobeProps.com is probably your best choice. And they have about every bill you can imagine. They have new hundreds, old hundreds, 50s, 20s, 10s, 5s, 1s, whatever you need, or you can buy an assortment. We're gonna go over what makes this money special today. All right, I did run by the bank and pull out some real money, and we're gonna compare it to this StrobeProps.com replica money and show you why I think this is the best prop money that you can buy right now. And by the way, don't try any funny business because this is not real money. This is real money. You can spend this. If you spend this, you're going to prison. In no way, form, or fashion is this intended to be used as currency. This is for movie purposes only, or for pranks or gags. Don't spend it. You've been warned. So some of the things we're gonna look at today is the size of these bills, the color of these bills, the paper they use, the accuracy of what's on the bills, and it's just overall quality. All right, real quick before we get started, we're gonna play a little game. I'm gonna hold up two bills for a second. You guys tell me in the comments below which one you think is the replica bill. Which one is the fake bill? Number one or number two? All right. Put in the comments below, number one or number two, which is the fake bill? And I'm gonna put the answer about a week after I post the video and see if you guys are right. All right, one of the first things we're gonna do is check the size of these bills and see how they compare to real currency. One of the tricks that people use when they create replica currency is they just change the size of the bills kind of drastically, makes them not feel real or look real on camera. So that's one of the criteria I look for in prop money, is making sure they're really good sized. So you'll notice that these bills are slightly larger than real money, but it's so close that even right next to each other, you can barely tell the difference. The margins do look slightly larger on the prop money, but overall the bill size is extremely close. I mean, these bills are off by practically nothing. They're just a tiny bit bigger. You would never be able to tell unless you put them right next to each other and try to compare them. Even then, it's difficult. So these bills pass the size test. Moving on to color. Now, starting with the $1 bill, I noticed that the replica is slightly more green than the real one, but this could be due to just wear. Real money changes color over time just due to people holding it. It's actually pretty nasty now that I start thinking about it, especially with all this corona going around. Now, the real 5 does have some purple color in it that the prop money doesn't really have. Most people aren't gonna notice this unless you have the real money side by side with the prop money, but on screen it should look great. Most people think all money's green anyways, but you'll notice money's all different colors. It looks more like Monopoly money than anything. That's the real money, by the way, and you'll notice they do have different colors in the prop money. So they are making an effort, but there is a little more purple in the $5 bill. Now the 10s are almost creepy how close they are in color. They nailed this one at StrobeProps.com. That's why I use this one for the little contest. Don't forget to put your answer below on which one you think was the real one. I'm curious to see how well you guys do. Now the 20s also have a little bit more green on them than the real 20 that I have, but like I said, that could be due to wear, but the prop money is just slightly more green than a real 20, but it still overall looks great. Now, I didn't know this, but $50 bills have like purple on them. The prop money doesn't really have any purple. It's got like barely a tint of purple, but these are really purple. A real 50 has purple on the outside edges that the prop money really kind of failed to replicate, but on camera, you're not going to tell the difference. So the color on the 50 is acceptable, but it's not as good as the 10. Now, I don't have an old 100 to compare these old hundreds to, but I do have the new hundreds. So here's the real $100 bill, and here is the replica $100 bill. This one is like blue all over. It really has a bluish tint to it. This one has a little bit of a blue tint, but it still has a lot of that green, especially on the back. So the color is a little off on the hundreds, but it still looks great. They put a great effort into matching the colors on these bills. It's super hard, and I don't know how legal it is to get them perfect, but I think it's acceptable. The color on every single denomination of these bills is going to look great in your movie, your video, your YouTube video, your commercial, your music video, whatever you're filming. So now we're going to go into a little bit of a deep dive, get the macro lens on the camera, and see the subtle differences between this money and real money. We're going to start with the $1 bill. Now, unlike the other bills that say for motion picture use only in really big words, the only difference on all of these bills is it has the word replica in black print very small, sometimes on the front and back, sometimes only on the front. Now, on the $1 bills, it doesn't say George Washington under his portrait. There's a different signature over here, and it also says not a real secretary. But this is so small, you would seriously need a magnifying glass to see it. And it says Treasury of the States United instead of Treasury of the United States. Very subtle changes. Now, the real $1 bill says Bank of Atlanta, Georgia. And the replica says Rank of New Torque. Rank of New Torque. That's what it says. And instead of saying this note is legal tender, it says it's not legal tender and to be used for motion picture use only. But it only says that in very small print. It also says for motion picture use in the green seal. And the back is almost identical to a real dollar, but it does have the word replica printed on it. This bill is clearly marked that it's prop money or replica money, but it's done in a way that you would have to be right up on it very close to even notice that this is not real money. And that is what you want in prop money, my friends. Now, because it would take forever to go over the differences in each denomination of these bills, most of the changes are the same, like it's going to say replica on it, there's going to be a different signature. I'm just going to go over the major things that are different about the remainder of the bills for the purpose of saving you time in this video. Now, the $5 bill has many of the same differences, but one thing I noticed was the seal says, "We are united," instead of United States Federal Reserve System. And instead of Lincoln, it says, "This is a replica" under the portrait. The back of the 5 only has a tiny marking that says this is a replica. It's almost too small to see. It doesn't even have the black print replica like most of the bills do on the back. Now, like all the bills, the 10 does have the black text that says replica, and it doesn't have Hamilton's name on it. It uses the same seal as the $5 bill, but the major difference with the 10 is the font used for the United States of America is completely different. And the real bill has a holographic 10 on it, but the prop bill just has a brown 10 on it. The Hamilton watermark portrait is also missing from the prop bill. But other than that, it's going to look really amazing. They don't put any of the holograms or watermarks in any of these prop bills. It's too hard to replicate and may possibly be illegal. I don't know. The 20s are also very good quality. They have almost the same differences as the $10 bills. So I'm just going to show you a quick comparison of the two bills with the real one being the one on the left side. Now, before I made this video, I didn't really notice that there was purple on a $50 bill anyways, but the replica one has a slight amount of purple, but nowhere close to how much purple is on a real bill. But I didn't know that before the video, so maybe you didn't either, so you probably wouldn't notice if you saw one of these replica bills in a movie. All right, up next is everybody's favorite, the $100 bill, the C note, the Benjamin, the what else? Put them in the comments. How many different ways can we come up with to say $100 bill? I'm curious to know how many there are. But this is one of my favorites. This is pretty much what everybody buys because they want to look like they have tons of cash in their music video or whatever. If you just need $100 in ones, you can go by the bank, get that, put it back, doesn't cost you anything. But hundreds are hard to come by. Now, StrobeProps.com has new hundreds and also the older version of the hundreds. This is really good because if you're filming like a period piece, something before these hundreds came out, you might want to use these in your movie. Also, the old hundreds are a little bit nostalgic for me. This is what a $100 bill looked like when I was growing up, when I was a kid, when I dreamed about having this much money. This was 100, so these are very important to me. Also, they have less holograms and watermarks on them than the newer hundreds, so you might be able to get a little closer to these with the camera and still look realistic. So keep that in mind. Now the new hundreds have a large blue holographic stripe in them that's really hard to replicate. On the prop money, it's kind of just a blue painted line on it. In person, it doesn't look real, but on camera, I guess it'd be way less obvious. Now the large orange 100 on the back though, that looks amazing. That looks spot on. Good job on that. And now for the paper. This is where prop money kind of falls apart. This is where it becomes blatantly obvious that you don't have real money. Now you can't feel paper when you're watching a movie. The actors can feel it, but they're actors. That's what they do. They pretend it's real and you believe it. Now, I think this is intentional because if you got these mixed up, and you can get these mixed up because they're such good replicas, it's pretty obvious. If you handed this to someone, it feels like you're handing them a piece of kind of thick, semi-gloss printer paper. It has a completely different feel than real money with that nice pop. You can't even rip this money. This money, pretty certain I could just rip right through it. It feels really smooth. This has a rough feel to it because it's got that cotton integrated into the paper. Big difference, but I think it's intentional and you're not going to be able to tell on camera other than the prop money has a little bit more of a shine to it. Like I said, it's semi-gloss. And most real money you get your hands on is going to be in circulation for a while, so there are some tips and tricks on how to weather this money and make it look even more real. So is the prop money from Strobe Props perfect? It's not supposed to be perfect, because that would be illegal. The key to great prop money is that when you look at it up close, it's obviously not real. But on film, it's almost indistinguishable from real money. It's a hard thing to accomplish, but I think the guys at Strobe Props have the highest quality, realistic prop money that you can get. All right, that is $286,000. I could buy a prop house or a replica house with this much money. It's so funny because I've had people come in the studio and see this sitting on the table and they freak out. They're like, what are you doing with that much money? Are you crazy? And they're standing right next to it. That's how good this prop money is. It looks real. Maybe I'll just leave this out, and if someone ever breaks into my house, they'll find this stack of cash, think they got plenty, run out with it, and not steal my TV or my computer. If you want to learn some tips and tricks on great ways to film this money, check out these videos right here. I got some cool camera equipment, how to film stuff. We do a lot of tech products here on the channel. Subscribe and stay tuned. We'll see you next time. I'm gonna go and not spend this at a store right now. I swear.